Welcome to the 2020 Greensteading Summit, presented by the Green Dream Project. This is a special series of videos featuring permaculturists, homesteaders, farmers, gardeners, and people dedicated to sustainable living. We thank you so much for joining us.
How's it going, everyone? You're watching the Green Dream Project, and if you're here for the first time, my name's Jim.
And I'm Jessica.
You're watching the 2020 Greensteading Summit, and we're glad to have you here. So we wanted to talk a little bit about why we're here homesteading in the desert. Why in an arid land in the desert in Arizona?
And I think it really ties into the whole greensteading thing.
Really, greensteading is a combination of a couple things. Homesteading, which is something we wanted to really get into. We wanted to really find a piece of land, develop it so that, we take care of the land and it takes care of us. But we've also learned and studied permaculture, and that is, in essence, really taking care of the land in such a way as to where not only does it produce for you, but it also heals and regenerates the land. And so we want to combine those two things, really. You figure desert lands really are very fragile. It's very arid, gets very low rainfall. Once you start cutting back on vegetation, once you start cutting back on some of those natural forces, those negative effects really accumulate and really start to have a domino effect.
Where we live in southern Arizona, it's a kind of a unique environment. When people think of Arizona, they think of the Sonoran Desert. And a lot of it is, especially central Arizona, very hot, very dry. The specific area where we live is kind of on the border of the Sonoran Desert, and you could call it a desert grassland environment. So it's kind of like this transitional environment where we have a lot of desert species of plants and animals. You got cacti, scorpions, and lots of lizards and these desert species. But there's also these grassland adapted species too. It means there's a lot of life here from these different types of environments, but it's also very fragile. And what we're seeing is the desert is really creeping into the grassland and species get lost.
We've had the opportunity to talk to people that have lived out here for nearly a decade, and they could see absolutely how their land used to look very similar to this, but all the grass is going away, being replaced by plant species that have deeper taproots that can get water lower in the ground. So what was once known as a desert grassland, you could see over a shorter period of time, really 10 years isn't that long, really. It's all slipping away.
When we first got this property and we were doing research on the history of the area, if you go back maybe 200-300 years when some of the first American settlers came to the area, the region was a lot different. The landscape was a lot different. There's a lot more vegetation, and there was more water. The human impact on the area, it made a huge impact. But we're hopeful that we can do our part to kind of turn that around just by the choices that we make and how we live out here.
Now, when we decided to get into homesteading, and people ask, well, why the desert? Why in this area now? I guess when we decided to homestead, we probably could have picked any area. Due to financial constraints, we ended up living in the desert, and we absolutely fell in love with it. And with our permaculture training, I think when we decided to make that move to buy some land, we were like, you know what? We have to do it in the desert. We absolutely love it. And although it's going to be a challenge, we really want to apply these skills that we've learned to help see if we can start reversing desertification and show people what is possible even in an arid climate where you're not getting that rainfall. Not is it how much rain that you can get, but how well you can utilize that rain. How well you can improve the quality of the soil. If you've ever seen any of our digging videos, you know that the soil here is hard, it's compact, but if you can rejuvenate the soil, get life into it, allow it to hold water, even with the annual rainfall of just 13 inches a year, we could probably turn this into a little oasis out here. We've been out here for a couple years now, and we're really trying to put together a lot of our infrastructure. Water was a big concern for us. Energy. Now we're building a house. Once we get this infrastructure in place, once we get our house built, we're very excited about that. We really want to get focused into growing. And when you're living in such an environment like this, when you're living off of just rainwater, you want to make your water use as efficient as possible.
Permaculture was really important for us to be able to set up a sustainable homestead out here, kind of help us just know where to get started and to know what to be looking for and thinking about living sustainably for this climate and this environment. And water was our first priority out here, I'd say. So not only is it important for us to be able to collect and store a lot of rainwater when we do get rains in our cistern, but we have to think about getting multiple uses out of the water that we get.
We're using human manure composting system to take care of our waste, and so we don't have any black water.
Yeah, so composting toilets, the kind we use, uses no water in the toilet and very little water for the whole composting process. And then gray water.
Any water that we use in the trailer, it just has a very simple pipe out of the back system, which is going to water trees that we planted.
Of course, the garden uses water, but we found some ways to really maximize how we use the water there. So we have what's called Oya pots for irrigation, which are just unglazed clay pots that are in the soil near the roots of the plants, and the water slowly seeps out of that so that we're not putting water on the surface of the ground. It really helps to reduce evaporation. We also use a lot of mulch out here, and that really holds the moisture in as well.
I absolutely, organic matter is so tough to come out here in the desert. There aren't as many trees as there used to be. So if you can find places where you can get mulch, or if you get that yard waste, don't toss it. Definitely you can use it. You can make the soil so much healthier by just putting that organic matter, putting that yard waste right on top, and just letting that turn into soil.
And utilizing animals. That's another important part of permaculture design. Animals, plants, people just working together. We don't have a lot of livestock yet, but we do have chickens. We've actually been keeping chickens for about a decade. They help create fertility for growing, and they provide eggs for us. And another thing I want to point out about animals is it doesn't have to be animals that you keep and care for, domesticated animals. You can make use of the wildlife, promoting diversity of wildlife in your area. What we've noticed just in the short time that we've been here, and with what little we've developed, growing more things, providing more habitats, we're seeing a lot more diversity of wildlife. You might have a lot of pests at first. You create that habitat, eventually predators come in and they help keep a balance. We're seeing more different kinds of birds out here. They're eating insects, they're fertilizing the areas around the trees. That's a really wonderful way to really develop a homestead, I think, without having to care for an animal so intensely. These are wild animals. They're gonna just do their thing, they're just
gonna do their thing, and you just go ahead and let them. When we first started building out here, we kind of used traditional materials like a lot of people. We had to use wood and metal. But what we really want to start moving toward is start using what we have out here on the land. We want to start building with earth. And that was kind of our first project here. We kind of had a little practice run with building with earth bags, building gabions using rocks that we sourced right around where we live. And our house will be earth bags. Dug right from the ground, right from the pits that we dug the earth from. We'll be building right into that. Man, I just think that this build will be so appropriate for the environment. We got hot summers, we got cold winters, and we really think that living in such a structure like this will really help modulate the temperatures, and we won't need as much energy input in order to keep those temperatures much more regular and comfortable.
Yeah, when you build a home that's really appropriate for your environment, for your climate, it has so many benefits. I mean, using local resources can save a lot of money, and having a comfortable living environment, your home, the place where you're going to be sleeping and eating, that's amazing. And to be able to do that without using a lot of external inputs and energy,
it's absolutely priceless. We've been living in a fifth wheel trailer here now for a couple years? And although it's not bad, I really can't wait to live in a house that not only can we call our own, but we built with our own hands.
And we get to design it down to every detail to make all those little parts of life just a little more comfortable, a little easier, so that it's really tailored for what we need. And what we're doing, it might seem a little extreme to some people, our whole lifestyle and living in an arid climate might seem challenging, and sometimes it is, but we really want to show it's about using what you have wherever you are. Just learning what you can, learning the skills you need, and as long as you have that passion, there's so much you can do. It doesn't have to be extreme, but we want to show what is possible for us, and hopefully that can encourage people to just get started wherever you are. There's a big impact you can have.
So we're really fortunate to have this 40-acre plot of land out here. It's a lot more land than we ever thought we'd ever own ourselves. And we started this thing from scratch. There was nothing out here. Everything that's out here now is directly related to what our activities out here. So I'm excited to keep working out here, to keep building, to keep trying to have that more positive impact. And we invite everyone to come along on this journey and see how it develops. Will we be successful in helping to reverse desertification? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
But we're gonna try.
We're definitely gonna try, and we want you to be along. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And definitely check out all the other videos of the summit. So much knowledge going on, so much experience being shared.
So many different perspectives from people of all different backgrounds, different areas, different regions. I mean, it's fascinating, it's inspiring. We're really excited about it, and we hope that you are too.
And remember, don't forget to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out the other summit videos as well. They'll be available for a limited time on the Green Dream Project YouTube channel. Remember to check out the links in the video description for more information on our speakers and to find out how to get access to all the summit videos to watch anytime.